Here we go, here we go. All right, welcome to Axie Chat, everyone. We're excited to be here today. Just not much going on in the crypto space, right, Enjoi?
I can't take you seriously. These lead-ins are the same every week, and guys, there's so much going on. There's so much going on. Honestly, I feel like it's actually been slow in news in the Axie space, except Jiho decided to drop a fast one on us, pull a fast one
Yeah,
on us this
pretty
week.
awesome. Pretty
You
cool, pretty
know,
cool.
market's been freaking heating up, and no news other than a nice tournament over the weekend, and
Yeah, yeah.
um, man, 5 minutes before the show starts, he's out there throwing up updates. So looking forward to going through that with all of you.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it'll be good to read it for the first time right here on Axie Chat, right? It'll be exciting to see what is said in the what's said in the developer update. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of been weird. I know that there's been a lot of people kind of, wondering what's going on in the crypto space just in general. Axie Infinity space is doing fantastic, and I guess we'll see what happens, what type of developments come from having the crypto space kind of retract a little bit and see what that does. Personally, I've seen, and if anybody follows my Twitter, what we saw with Axie is that in a bear market, Axie did great. And I fundamentally believe in NFTs, and I fundamentally believe that with NFTs, it doesn't matter so much the USD to Ethereum pricing. What matters more is the fundamentals of the NFT. And frankly, Axie has the absolute best fundamentals. We're just also excited for them to actually be put into place. We're still in speculation mode for the most part, other than Axie battles, which, hey, SLP's doing real good, so that's still exciting, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, SLP is obviously freaking moon this week. We were having a good conversation about just crypto markets and NFTs in general earlier, more related to the art scene. Just because, honestly, none of this makes sense without the rest of the crypto sphere, right? Everything going on affects Axie, and Axie affects everything else that's going on. And one of the interesting things that kind of came to my mind, because this is something that I've kind of been worried about since I got into the space, right? I got in kind of at the low point. ETH was $200. Like, what happens when it goes to 10,000? Are our Axie assets still worth something, or
Right.
does does the Axie assets keep up with ETH? And what's kind of occurred to me over the last week is, people have emotional attachments to their NFTs,
Oh
whether it's
yeah.
Axies. I don't want to freaking sell my Mystic Axies. They mean too much to me. I've gone through a journey with them. Even the team that I play with a lot, I don't want to let go of those guys just because we've been through battles,
Yeah.
legit. And it's the same thing with art. It's the same thing with some of these other projects as well. Is like it's hard to let go. So I think there's an interesting place for NFTs among the crypto market that makes
Yeah.
them a little, maybe less liquid, but also, I don't know.
Better stores of value, though. A lot of times, things with less
Right.
liquidity end up being better stores of value. We see that with precious metals. You see that across the board in different asset classes. So, I mean, it's not terribly surprising. It is kind of, if you need to pay rent or you need to buy, some bread, it makes it a little bit more of a challenge, right? But
Baroners out there buying bread with Axies,
with SLP,
just
man. No, I
right.
mean, but that's reality for people. So I don't mean to make light of it, right? But I mean, it is something to think about, like the different classes of assets here. And the great thing I think is that Axie Infinity has many classes of assets involved
Right.
with its universe, and some of them are more liquid than others. And I do want to talk about Axis token a little bit in a little bit of detail. I threw a chart up on Twitter, and I'm going to put that up here and go through it a little bit more specifically, so maybe people can understand the context of what I have there. And I'm not a guru as far as knowing how governance tokens relate to relate
Guys,
to.
I'm sorry, I'm stripping over here.
Yeah.
The market's
Okay.
heating up.
Here we go. Here we go. Enjoy putting on a different type of show.
We're not having a cloud white moment. No,
Yeah,
sir.
that was incredible. That was
We'll see if we
incredible.
get any more land sales, and then we'll talk. Anyways, go on. I'm sorry for
No,
cutting you off.
dude, you're totally fine. Um, basically, I was just saying, like, I'm never quite clear how the governance tokens relate to the actual space itself. You know, once we see that the governance token is actually generated within the space, it will make a lot more sense to us, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
where it's not really in the play to earn space yet, it's just kind of this extra feature. It's just kind of like everything other than Axie battles right now, something that's speculative, something that's going to come, something that has potential, and it's really kind of it's interesting for us to all gauge that potential.
You know what?
Yeah,
You know what's interesting, I always say it. I know you've got slides coming up,
no, it's
so
all good, man.
I'm not
No,
gonna go too deep into
do
this.
it, go.
But I feel like land earnings, and its relation to Axis and how much has always been a big secret, almost like the team hadn't quite figured it out recently or yet. Lately, I've seen a lot more comments from Jiho, from Psych Out, talking about how land is just it's like buying Axis but delayed, like it's like a delayed payoff. um, I feel like we're getting close. I feel like they're figuring a lot of stuff out. They're
Yeah,
working on some of these more, the more economic stuff. In the front side of things, they're trying to figure out development, what makes it fun, what's going to keep bringing people back. And I feel like they're getting really close just because now they're talking about economic stuff. They're still not letting us know, like, the actual details, what the numbers are.
right.
Obviously, you know how they like to slow roll leaks to us and keep us engaged. But man, more and more I'm seeing comments like that. It's getting me excited.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I never know with Jiho like what to take seriously and what to not take seriously. Like what's for sure a leak or what's just kind of I don't know, teasing, or we've called it edging, or different types of things. It's never quite clear what's just hype and what makes sense,
Sure.
sometimes. And we talked about kingdom building and stuff. We see that in the dev update, just kind of as a pre-spoiler. But we can talk about that more. But it feels kind of weird in a way because it seemed like when they gave us Project K, they said this is really, really old. Like this is several iterations old from where we're at right now. And I guess I just don't know for sure. I don't know for sure where they're at. I'm having a hard time gauging, based on the development updates, where things are at. Oh yeah, there is a Jiho emote here in the stream. Did anybody pull that one up, or did it not approve yet? It
I just
didn't.
I just tried to unlock an emote. Nothing.
Yeah, I think it didn't get approved yet. I submitted one, but we'll see if it gets approved or not. Um, and it was all classy, so it should, but we'll see. And again, everybody listening to the podcast, if you get a chance, join us live stream. It's so much fun. We're having a great time in chat talking about stuff, but we're sure grateful that you're listening on the podcast too. But wrapping back around, I mean, I guess I hope that you're right, what you're saying, Enjoi. I hope that it's getting closer and closer. Sometimes with the development updates, I just don't know how to evaluate that. I feel like maybe it's further away than I would hope for. But again, I'd rather it be done right. I'd rather it be done well, and I'm okay with waiting to make sure that it's implemented in a really good way. Exciting stuff about battles, though. Version 2 battles. So we'll get
Yeah,
to that.
very. I'm looking forward to talking about that. Excuse me, everybody. You guys are gonna see I'm in my pajama pants, comfy. I got to keep the vocal cords going.
Yeah.
Obviously, keep myself in a good mood. I gotta let my dog out of the room here. But
Well, we love that dog.
any,
Everybody loves the dog. So
I know. I
the,
wish I could get him to just sit and hang out, and
it's
he's
good
a
for
nice arm
it's
rest.
good
He's
for viewers,
fluffy.
and yeah, I know. At least the stream viewers, they like seeing the dog for sure. Um, so I think that we're gonna start doing it this way, where we talk about the marketplace first, because I think that drives a lot of the conversation. And really, I feel like people are tuning in. Yeah, they want to hear if we can get leaks, if we can arrange for that. Yeah, people want to hear that. But I think market analysis is something that people are really kind of dying to hear more of, like what makes sense, what the market is doing, why maybe is it doing it. Not that we have all the answers, but we definitely like to talk about it. So, you know, the first thing is Axis. Axis, you know, we've had it up above $2 fairly consistently, at least for the last like 10 days, almost 2 weeks. And I mean, it really took a dump. Of course, the entire kind of crypto market kind of took a dump, but Axis really took a dump. Like it dropped a solid dollar in value compared to where it was. Now, those were all-time highs, right? So it's not really a surprise that there's going to be fluctuation. But I guess, what do you feel like's driving this? Is it just general concern about the crypto space? Do you think there's manipulation by whales, big holders of Axis? Do you have any theories as to why this dropped so significantly?
I think, in going back, we were talking about the liquidity differences between tokens and NFTs. I think that having more liquidity for some of these tokens drives bigger market moves. In some cases, somebody gets interested in a project and boosts it up really high because they want a stake. Other people see that high price and they start dropping their positions because they feel like maybe they were in it at 15 cents when it first launched. There's a lot of different reasons for people to buy and sell. I feel like Axie in general has kind of ridden the whole the recent NFT hype, but not as much as some of the other projects. But I have seen an increase in interest in land for some interesting reason.
Yeah,
My bet is, I think that there's always going to be a little bit of a balance between land and Axis price. And I think that both of these things are still trying to find their balance. If Axis is too high, people will sell it for ETH and buy land.
right.
And if land is too high, people might sell it and buy it for Axis. I think that makes a lot of sense, kind of like
True.
the whole SLP and breeding, sort of situation. It's just how the economics work and how things are tied together. I don't know if that's what's actually driving this, uh, but I think it's something definitely to keep an eye on moving forward.
Well, I'll talk about one method of maybe evaluating Axis. That's going to be the next slide. But I really like your insights there.
I just made it up just now, just to be honest
Wow,
with you, but
well, it
I,
was pretty insightful.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I do.
No, it does make a lot of sense. And frankly, I think that you're right. I mean, even Jiho's talked about how purchasing land, I mean, I think he even said this with us, purchasing land is like buying Axis for the future. It's like banking future returns of Axis tokens. And so
Right.
that absolutely makes sense. I mean, I totally can see that. I definitely like to own land. I also feel like the Axis staking is probably going to come. I don't know. What do you think? I kind of feel like it's going to come sooner than actual land gameplay. So my view has been
Oh
kind
yeah.
of hold on to Axis to participate in the staking. You know me, I've been wary of DeFi just in general. However, Axis staking makes a lot of sense to me because we need to have people show that they're vested in the community when we're in a situation where the community treasury is being built and things are actually going into the community treasury. So in my mind, that makes perfect sense that people need to stake their Axis to show their vestiture in the Axie Infinity universe when a community
Right.
treasury is being built. So in my mind, all that just makes common sense, and it makes it real easy for me to want to stake Axis. So making it easy for me to want to acquire it. Although I do feel like there's some game playing going on, you know, as far as as far as what's possible in kind of pumping and manipulating tokens, and I think it's happening on a grand scale. I mean,
Yeah.
like Musk or don't like Musk, like Elon, he says these things. It blows my mind the impact that they have on people and the decisions people make based on just a few words that that they have to say, that he has to say. Because frankly, he could have said that to quietly purchase a ton more Bitcoin, a ton more Ethereum at a lower price. I hope that that's not what he was trying to do, is intentionally manipulate the market. But even if it wasn't intentional, if you have, $1 billion sitting around, how easy is it to take advantage of a dip, a decline in a market? I don't know. Maybe we're headed into a full bear. Maybe we're all screwed. I mean, what do you think?
And I've been thinking about that a lot recently too, right? Because we're both here talking about something that we've invested in on a weekly basis, something that we love. It's the reason that we do this in the first place. We're not here to pump it.
Right.
But we're passionate about it. It's the reason why we talk about it. It's the reason I've got a Axie as my avatar, and my Twitter handle says Axie in it. It's because this is what I like doing with my spare time. I like following this and talking about it and trying to figure out what's going to happen next. All of it. It makes sense that somebody who's passionate about the idea of decentralization and Bitcoin would be talking about Bitcoin, and somebody who has a giant following like that. Yeah, of course, it's going to influence the market a little bit, especially knowing his status as both an investor and a businessman. I guess my question lies on, is that market manipulation when you're just talking about something that you love? I
Good
don't
point.
know that, but if that's the case, then me and you were both potentially in trouble, although on a much smaller scale. No,
Well, I
I
mean,
don't.
I don't know. I guess sometimes we do kind of talk about how we feel about where things are at. That's true, and that's basically all he said. So I'm not saying that it's market manipulation at all. I'm just saying like, it did have an effect. It seems, at least a
Right.
lot of news articles I'm reading say that it had an effect. It definitely didn't have an effect on me. Other than I'm always happy to see my capacity to acquire more Axie assets increase. So
Sure.
I don't have any problem with that. Anyway,
Hey, real quick, I want to jump back because you were talking about order of operations between land gameplay and
yeah.
Axis ecosystem starting up.
Mm,
And I could have sworn it was the other way around, but it does say Q2 land gameplay community alpha, and then by the end of Q2,
dashboard.
Axis ecosystem begins. So
Mm.
dashboard, staking, governance, play to earn.
So same time.
Um, well, it says Q2 for land gameplay, so that could be anytime, starting in April and beyond.
Right.
Um, they're very specific with by the end of Q2, Axis ecosystem begins. Now that being said, when Jiho was on, was it last week, the week before?
Gee.
I don't even remember. We've done 27 of these episodes now. Time is flying. But you asked him if they were on track, and he kind of was a little vague about it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But the order is different than what I had remembered.
Yeah. I don't know, and I think that there's been. I think the team got burned by releasing a roadmap early that they didn't even come close to. But my opinion is they didn't come close to it because things changed mightily as far as the investors that came in and kind of their whole scope of what they wanted to accomplish. It wasn't necessarily that it was impossible. It was just that things changed massively, and
Right.
so they had to kind of retool and refigure what they were going to do. And so I think that they're a little bit leery, of
Dude, I'm happy with the iteration. I don't mean to cut you off, but
yeah,
I'm
no, you're
happy
good.
with this constant iteration, right? The space is changing so
Yeah,
fast. If they weren't building and changing things, we'd be behind the times. I mean, this originally started as a CryptoKitties clone. It was a couple
right.
people who like CryptoKitties and thought that there might be a better way to do things. And they had this
Yeah,
auto battle, and the auto battle was okay for what it was. At the time, it was, the best thing out there. And I passed up on the early Axie stuff just because I was like, this has been done before. It's kind of boring. But after that, they decided to launch Land, and that was a completely new thing that a bunch of other, um, you know, projects kind of copied them on.
right,
They saw the success of the land sale and did it themselves.
right.
And the vision for Land initially, we're going into a little bit of a history lesson for all y'all. But the initial vision for Land was more of like a Tamagotchi. You get a little
Terrarium,
plot of land, terrarium, and you get to pet your thing and feed him and whatever. And
wash
it
them, and
turned
yep,
into exactly, and it turned into this bigger vision. And now it's changing again.
yeah,
It's changing again. Now we're getting this.
in a beautiful
We'll
way,
again
an
we'll go into
exciting,
this dev
yeah,
update, but
yep.
this whole idea of like territory battles and
Oh
guilds and
man,
stuff is, dude, it's so exciting. Like I was excited before when it was just walking around and harvesting wood, and this is so much cooler. So I'm glad they're iterating, because if you don't iterate, the next person's going to catch up. And they've said too that, what we currently know is 10%. It's the freaking top of the iceberg, right? There's still another 90% underneath the ocean. So I'm okay with them potentially missing deadlines occasionally, or changing how things go. I just want to make sure that they're transparent.
Yeah, and just like what was said in the chat here, the cool thing about this is with the SDK and with the different things that are happening, I mean, terrariums are still going to be possible, right? I mean, there's
Right,
all sorts of
right.
stuff that's still going to be able to be put into place. I still want to play basically like a RTS strategy, Warcraft or Starcraft style game. I think that sounds awesome in an RTS setting, and I don't know if that's going to be possible with the SDK or not. But man, I just see so many different possible applications. It makes me really excited. And thinking about different schemes that I've seen for NFT releases, hash masks, bull run babes, different things like that. Like if they did a release of a land item that was like 1,000 total land items with a percent chance that it's mystic, a percent chance that it's epic, a percent chance that it's rare. Could you imagine how awesome that would go? I mean, I think that would be incredible. So there's so many things. That's why I love Axie Infinity. Like there's so many different things in the space that can happen, that can take place. And so, all that. Yeah, like Jiho said, I mean, Axie really invented a lot of the stuff that's happening out there in the space right now, and now it's neat to see different NFTs capitalizing on some of that and the way that's going. So yeah, I'm just so excited for Axie Infinity. It's the anticipation's great. It'll be way awesome to see more things implemented for sure. Okay, so Axis. Ready for my take?
I just want to
Go
say,
ahead. Go.
if Indus is in here, this conversation's hyped me up enough that I'm actually finally delisting my land. So, thank you for that, baronar.
Yeah, you bet.
He'll be happy to hear that.
Well, so we'll have to talk because yeah, okay, good, okay, all right.
Anyways,
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Baronar's sad. He was scoping out some of my stuff.
I was. I'll be honest. All right, it's okay, but good. I think that's a wise move. Honestly, I think that the floors need to continue to rise, especially Arctic. It's behind again. We'll talk more about that. Oh, you know what? In the development update and everything, I didn't update one of those slides, but that's okay. We'll just kind of talk about it generally. I have some of the information here. So, whoa, that's bright on my screen. So this is kind of the evaluation that I put out there on Twitter. And again, this is based on actual tokens released right now. So I'm not talking about total 270 million. I'm talking about the current market cap. And so I just pulled the Axis market cap. I think this one was off of CoinGecko. Different people figure it a little bit differently, but I just pulled it off of CoinGecko. So right now they're saying there's just over 55 million tokens that are released. They at the $1.32 USD, they say 71, almost 72 million in total market cap. So I just took the floors of everything. And remember, like the floors are a little bit illusory because this is the price where somebody hasn't bought things. But also remember, illusory. It's an illusion.
I don't know that word.
It's an illusion, Enjoi. Floor is a little bit of an illusion because we know that tons of things sell above floor. Like there have been, probably a dozen sales today above floor,
sure.
Right? But then those floor assets are still, on the market. So I just use the floor prices to kind of figure. So what is the total NFT and token value in the space right now based on floor, based on the going prices right now? So this is what this is. Now items, I know I have a slide with total items, but not all items are migrated yet. So I think this is missing almost 100,000 total items. So I guess what I'm saying is, this is missing tons and tons of value, okay? This is missing probably at least 10 to 20 million of total value of the Axie space. But still, it's at 93 0.7 million at the Ethereum price of 1,500 if it stays that low. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to point out, like, what is Axis to you? Like, how do you evaluate Axis token? Is Axis a reflection of the total value of the assets in the space? Does it also include, speculative return in addition to that? Do you include a premium for the potential that you can stake this asset? I mean, there's so many different ways to evaluate it. I guess what do you think? Like, how do you evaluate Axis token? To me, it seems like it should clearly represent, at a minimum, the total asset value of the NFTs in the Axie space. I mean, that's kind of what a governance token is, right?
Jiho says that he can value it, and he's still buying. Um, I don't know that I agree with this evaluation.
Perfect. That's why I brought
I
it up.
Yep, I like it as a concept. But I guess to put it into perspective, um, would you value Uniswap based on the domain name or the building that the team's hosted in? I don't. Terrible comparison. But
No, what
I guess
about
my point is
Rarible? Rarible's a better one.
but my point is, yeah, I guess would you value Rarible based on all of the NFTs that are hosted within the site, even though it doesn't own them? I don't think so. You value Rarible based on the volume of goods that are sold through the platform. Same with Uniswap, which is why I was going with that. You're
Right.
you're looking at the amount of revenue that it brings in. I think same thing here. So when I'm looking at Axis, I'm not looking at the value of everything, although I think it's definitely an interesting number to look at. I mean, you can easily look at this $93 million number and be able to determine week over week whether or not we're growing or we're shrinking. But I think the far more interesting thing is, how often are lands or axes traded? How much breeding is happening? The interesting thing is once farming, wood or stone or whatever, starts happening, how much of that stuff's getting sold? Because I would assume if we bring a Uniswap clone into Ronin, we're taking a percentage of that potentially.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
definitely.
or maybe the Sky Mavis team is as part of Ronin because Ronin's not
Oh,
part of
there's
the
yeah.
Axis,
True.
but whatever. We'll have to see how they value that,
Or
or
split
how
or
they
something.
handle all that.
Yep.
But that's the interesting thing to me. I think the breeding of axes, the trading of land, like that's really where the value is going to come in. And the point is there's a ton of potential. We're not even a tenth of how big we could potentially get. What was the development update said that we're at 30,000? Hold on, I gotta go in here.
Total
30,000
users.
current
Yeah,
holders,
holders.
something like that.
Yep. Axie holders.
I
Yep.
mean, that's just holders. That's not daily players by any
Twenty
means.
thousand daily players. Yep.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, some major games have millions of people playing every hour.
Yep.
Once we get to that point and Axies are traded like, just back and forth like crazy, I think the Axis treasury just starts accruing money like crazy. That's kind of how I see things.
So in the
Um,
chat, Jiho says that he views it as being the value of what's in the treasury, and I know that that's
right.
kind of been said too in the articles as well. And again, you have to look at the total asset value of Axie Infinity in order to have any sense of what the treasury is going to generate.
Sure.
That's just that's just obvious. So without that understanding, you'll have no concept of what the treasury has the potential of generating.
But here's the really interesting thing too, right? Is we've talked about potentially having to burn axes for materials or something at the
Yeah.
high end later. Once we have all these people and we've got kind of this circle, right? You've got the breeding, you've got the selling, you've got the trading, you've got the burning, maybe to get materials to level up or whatever. That cycle is just going to have to accelerate as we get more and more people. So it's like a black hole for fees going into the treasury. I think that's really interesting.
And so, but you have partial ownership of that black hole. so,
Exactly.
so yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, there are lots of ways to evaluate it. I wanted to bring this up. I'm just interested to see how people are choosing to, let go of their Axis tokens. Fortunately, a lot of mine I acquired way early, like as in acquired in Luna early
Right.
even. But it's still something that it's intriguing to me because I there's some people that feel like it was getting value too high. Obviously, they're selling. Some of the people are. I don't know. I guess I just don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about the value of the Axis token, where it's been, where it's going. I've always felt like if you believe in the Axie community, that the Axis token is something you'd want to acquire and hold on to. But anyway, there's Axis. Anything else?
Nah.
All right.
Save it for next Axie Chat.
All right. Okay.
Look, man, we've done a whole episode on land analysis. We've done a whole episode on Axie analysis. We've got to do one on Axis analysis.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. So SLP for me is kind of the dark horse right now. Pretty impressed with SLP's
Oh
performance.
my God. Dude, you
Yeah.
were you were buying this at a cent. You were going nuts. I know you were.
Yeah, I did. And I sold some of it too soon, dude, but I mean it was still good.
Right.
But again, like I think we have said before, at least I have said, that the 3 to 5 cent range kind of makes sense to me. Definitely the higher value, the better, especially for the daily players. And honestly, I think that despite the high gas fees, because SLP is high, people are willing to do that because they see the return. I mean, there were times, and I pointed this out on my Twitter at one point, where you invested in a team of Axies, and you were able to return the value of that team basically within like 3 weeks. What other investment
Less
allows you?
less than that.
Yeah.
It used to be like a week.
Wow.
Um, which I mean was fantastic. But I mean, if you really look at it, still at 5 cents, you can still do it. What, within a month or two?
I mean, yeah, it's incredible. Even with the
Jiho
fees
says it
included.
used to be a few hours. I mean,
Geo.
this is efficient market. People might say that that's not fair, but prices, investments always take a little bit of
Yeah,
time to pay off, and in
100%.
most industries, it's several years. So, even with Axies at $100 and SLP at 1 cent, the there's a point where that still makes sense for a large majority of people.
Well, and again, to me, I think I've said this over and over. Don't mean to be ultra repetitive, but oh well. SLP relates to Axie prices. It has to. Those two
Yep.
go together. And if Axie prices are going to stay high, then this makes sense.
And have
Um,
you noticed Axie prices trending up along with this?
Hugely up. Like, I
Hugely.
mean, I
Yep.
sold a land dweller today that's been on the market for a long time. I would probably have pulled it off just to have it,
Dude,
just to have it.
the entire floor right now, I'm looking at it right now, is all band Axies. You can't even use these things, and they're
Yeah,
at $86. Like to get a
yeah,
real Axie, you're looking at 101. And a lot of those still aren't even usable in battle. So,
yeah.
um,
Those band axes just need to be pulled off the marketplace. I don't. Yeah,
yeah, or
I wonder.
Jiho, if you're looking, give us a toggle for band Axies. I I
Yeah.
still think that
To
there's a
toggle
I
'em.
still think that there's a benefit to having those in the market, but people need to be looking for an extended payoff if that's the case. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, being able to get rid of those or
disclude
little
them.
switch.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally agree. So again, just on small love potions, like I don't know if there's some group or something out there that's committed to SLP, and if there is, awesome. Keep it up. Whatever. I mean, it's so good for the community. It's so good for adoption. It's so good for really everybody in the space for SLP to remain high. So, freaking awesome. And yet again, if it goes down, great. I mean, then we'll be able to make more Axies. It's wonderful. So, I mean, that's what's so awesome about the way this is all designed in a free market, in a decentralized setting. the market's going to drive prices, and it's going to be great. So, all right. Hey, thanks for the subs, everybody. Britt, Mochismu, Snorlax, Stod. So good to have you guys here. All right. So this has been happening like crazy. Oh, hype train, right on. Thanks, guys. So cool. Hey, now I'll just get excited here. Oh, thanks, guys. Hey,
Guys, you're breaking baronar.
I know,
Stop
for
it.
real, man.
Stop giving him money. He's getting too excited.
So cool. So awesome of everybody. I mean, yeah. So just freaking the origin market in general. So when I'm saying the origin market, I'm including all the different mystics and stuff like that. But I mean, you've been paying attention to these sales, right? Over the whole week, really.
Heck yeah. I mean, we're definitely in Mystic season, and even more so Origin season. I haven't seen this much Origin love really ever. Just I don't even know what it is. Anything that you noticed that sparked all this, or other than just the market in general heating up?
Yeah, I sold one that I shouldn't have sold, and then it all.
So it was you.
Yeah, it was me. No, I just kidding. It makes absolute sense. I think that people are starting to finally understand the rarity of these assets. Hey, thanks, Cuckoo. And so it's really easy. You see CryptoPunks, and what is the minimum CryptoPunk now? Like 19 Ethereum.
More than that.
It's high now.
More than that. They hit like 25 floor for at least a little bit. I don't know what it is today, but yeah. And you know what? I think a lot of them too are maybe they're starting to sell a little bit. I mean, CryptoPunks and obviously none of these other projects aren't the focus of Axie Chat by any means, but I do think it makes sense to correlate, what else is going on in the market to what's going on here. There was a lot of attention. Gary V shouted them out. I think some famous musicians were buying punks. I think I saw that that Mr. Beast bought like 50 punks or something insane. So prices went pretty high, obviously. It only makes sense once all that attention's coming in that people might start selling for a large profit. And hopefully, I'm hoping at this point that some of them have noticed the largest up and coming project, outside of their own sphere, and said, hey, these things are massively undervalued compared to what we've been doing. I mean, me and you have been talking about it all week, is there's actually utility here. The best utility that you have with those is, maybe some emotional attachment, looking at it on your screen, or, using it as an avatar. Yeah, there's some history there because they're the first NFT, all this other stuff. But, Axies are actually usable in a game. You can earn money with them. The parts are even scarcer. The number of Origin Axies and Mystic Axies are way scarcer. There's just a lot of benefits here, and hopefully other people, now that they've got some of these gains, are going to redistribute them across the market and figure out what we're doing here.
Yeah. You and I were talking earlier about some of this stuff too, and NFTs are really, really fascinating. Like there's different categories, classes of NFTs, no question. And some of them are pretty clearly a scarcity, a rarity play, and that for me, that's CryptoPunks. It's a limited set, it's a limited group. Some of the first ones that were ever envisioned and put on the smart contract chain. So it's kind of a first too. So in addition to being a scarcity type of play, it also is an original, right? It's an OG type of NFT.
That's it. Yep.
And then you have art projects, which are incredible. You have some art projects, I would say, like hash masks, that also include a little bit of utility in their name change token. Rarible stuff includes a utility token. We've seen some of these other art Nexus's art onboarding, digital art onboarding, marketplaces, I guess that's the right word, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, like the one we were talking about earlier, the one that Christie's is partnered with.
Oh, Maker's Place.
Yeah, Maker's Place
and Nifty Gateway.
Yeah, Nifty Gateway.
All those.
Yeah, you can tell how much into art I am right now. So yeah, so rare.
Super rare. So rare.
Super rare. Yeah, soccer, football. Yeah. So again, like, what was my point? My point's talking about different classes and types of NFTs, and
Hmm.
frankly, the coolest thing about Axie Infinity is, it engages in all of the different NFT aspects, and some of the Axie assets are a play in all of those types of things: utility, art, rarity, all of that. And for sure, without question, origin axes are. Yeah, as you pointed out, if they don't have mystic parts, it is possible that they can, visually be represented again, but they'll never have that origin tag. They'll never be an Axie that was specifically rolled by Axie origin coins. So they do have an inherent value with respect to rarity. But we do know they're also going to have upgradability. We also know they're going to have some form of utility when it comes to land play. I mean, they already can be used in battles, so they already have some utility. And frankly, with the retro gift that's coming, airdrop for people who just want to use that term, we already know that there's some component of having those at the time of the snapshot, that those were going to return some amount of access as well.
Yep.
Um,
There's one more thing I wanted to touch on is I saw in chat somebody mentioned the knockoff CryptoPunks that were launched on Binance Chain or whatever the frick. And we've talked about similar things in the past, right? Is there's a difference between utility with Axies and other NFTs. There's a difference between utility with Axis and art. If you have a Mystic Axie, you are one of a small percentage of people walking around in Lunacia once land gameplay
yeah.
exists. Like people are gonna see that Axie and
Oh
it's gonna
yeah.
be a status symbol. And you can have a punk as your avatar, but anybody could technically copy that thing and use it as their avatar. If they
Sure.
like what they see, they can use it as their avatar, and most
Screenshot.
people aren't going to question that. Most people who aren't in the know. But this is going to be so worldwide. This like there's going to be again, a lot of multiplayer games have millions of people playing at a time. Um, but only one person can walk around with a specific Mystic Axie. You know, you are one of a few walking around with that.
Right.
And the other piece of that too is okay, so going back to this whole knockoff punks thing, is somebody just copied the pictures and moved it over, the contract over to another chain. You can't copy Axes and move it over to another chain. You can't copy
Right.
this, these 2 or 3 years of land development and the breeding and all this stuff. It just doesn't make sense. And more importantly, guys, you can't copy this community.
Exactly.
That's one of the hugest things. So
Yep.
yeah, as V's says in chat, we are protected. This is, you buying an Axie in general, you've got something rare and valuable and uncopyable.
Right.
And I personally think that's huge.
I completely agree. And then, when you take the categories, you see some of the ones I picked on this screen are specific because, we see an origin reptile, an origin bug, an origin bird. We have some of the rare origins here that are being purchased for a little bit higher prices. And man, I think it's a good play. Like, I missed that, to be honest. I should have been paying more attention to that. I think more people should have been paying more attention to that. And frankly, some of the rarer parts, rarer body styles, fuzzy, and then the rarer breeds, those are going to start driving more and more value. It's going to become more and more important. And like in the WoW pool, if you get lucky, it's almost that random chance thing I was talking about before. If you get lucky and pull something that's more rare that finds its way into the WoW pool, yeah, you just scored potentially, 3, 4, 5 times what your standard origin Axie might be worth. I was so happy about the Skullcracker one that I picked up that was on a beast. I think the mystic parts being on that class is going to be really important too. I mean, I think all mystics are going to be awesome, don't get me wrong, but I do think matched up mystic parts to their class is going to be something that matters as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. By the way, did you see what the floor for Skullcracker was after you picked that up?
30. Oh,
Oh my God, what a steal.
yes. Oh,
Oh,
I can't believe
guys,
that.
there's deals out there to be had. You just got to familiarize yourself with the market.
Oh,
It's insane.
yeah. I mean, I don't make all the best moves all the time at all. And
Definitely not.
but there are great things to be done still. And again, sorry, not sorry. It takes skin in the game to play. That's just the truth. So, all right, moving on.
All right.
So, like I said, this is wrong, and we'll get it next week. We'll get it right. It's not worth really going through. Um, things are hopping though. Right before we got on, not only was there a development update that was dropped, but guess what happened? Look at this, dude. Watch. Bam. Okay. So Lunasian 79136. Whoever you are, you need to come out of the woodworks, man. We need to figure out who you are and what's going on. Splash like 25 Ethereum into the land market. So this is just slide 1. Slide 2, so he picks up, like 5 savannas, 4 forests or something like that. Maybe it's 6 and 4. And then all of a sudden you think, okay,
Flash.
well, here we go. Bam. Okay, so now Arctics aren't safe either. He's going to pick up some forests and some Arctics. And then, oh my gosh, whammo. Check out the mystics he snatched. And I'm telling you, I like this play a lot. So cool. Yeah, it's all sweeping the floor. But guess what? These things are going to return value. I think land is important to have. If you can get estates, I think that's even better from what we've read and what we know. But having them in general is just going to be good. And so here he is picking up just some great assets, some great land assets that are going to return significant value. Really cool. Wonder if this is just the beginning. Dunno. But what a way to enter the space. Shout out to you, Lunasian 79136. Freaking
I
cool
don't know,
stuff.
man. 30 ETH is about the price of punk. That might be money rotating out. Um,
Ah.
yeah, man. I agree. I like this just because of the diversification aspect. We still don't know what's happening. We do know land is coming, and it's going to be huge. Um, if somebody's getting into the game new, I'd recommend listening to baronar and going with, obviously the top level first. But if you got a little bit of money to spend, I'd try and get a little bit of everything just to cover your bases.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a wise move. I'm just kind of I've decided on Arctic Plus, and that was just kind of a choice I decided on. But I absolutely think having land is more important than not having land. You should have them. You should have land. And Squirrel Tech, yeah. When I say estates, I'm really just talking about any connected plots. Some people talk about those in being like specific structures, like 2x2s or 3x3s. But when I say an estate, I just mean even a small estate, which is just 2 plots touching each other, just connected. They have to be adjacent to each other.
Adjacent. You're using a lot
Adjacent.
of big words today.
Yes, I am eloquent today. Enjoy. Okay.
Baronar,
Snort.
nar, nar, nar.
Baronar. Okay. Nothing really changed with the Genesis floor, so we'll just skip by that. I think Cloud's going to be happy here fairly soon. Someone's going to just not be able to pass that up. They're going to say, okay, well, I can have four punks, 4 of these ugly freaking punks, or I can have this nice corner Genesis plot up by the water there. So,
I think Cloud said he was going to double his price if nobody buys by the end of the week.
oh
So,
wow,
yeah.
yeah. Why too? You can't say that. Like now I'm on. Now I have pressure to find a dad joke. It's just supposed to naturally happen as far as dad jokes go. Okay, so next, hey Coco, good to see you, bud. So Henry's page is back up and running. Oh, hey, Freaks is too. In case people are wondering, Freaks land comparison page. It wasn't on Ronin for a while, but now it's back over. It's over to Ronin, so you can do it.
Awesome.
I couldn't get it when you couldn't put the word Ronin in there like you have to do for gifts for transfers. You just do the whole thing, and so it needs to start with the 0x or it won't work. But just wanted to let people know if you want to see your land and compare it to what's available out there on the market, Freaks Tool is working again. So Henry's page giving us the floor prices for the land items. Land items are rising for the most part. Mystics actually kind of stayed the same. You know, remember Enjoi, land got hot, things got selling quite a bit, and then all of a sudden people remembered that there's land items, that there are land items out there, right?
Yeah, I
I,
mean, I remember the last time around the Mystic land item floor was about 1.2.
yep.
And then it shrunk down. I think if I recall um what am I freaking thinking? The plushies. The plushies are
Yeah.
still like around one.
Yeah.
So
Plushies are
I think it's
fire.
only, yeah, but here's the thing is I actually like the swords and
No, they're
the
great.
all that stuff
Yep.
better in terms of actual effects.
Mm.
The plushies are just cute AF, you know.
Yeah, 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 for
It's
sure.
just people like their aesthetics. So
Yeah, they are.
I don't know. Again, I've been betting on Mystic items since they were less than 10 or
Yes, you
point
have.
10 ETH. So
Yep.
I still think that there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, epics were too low. They're getting closer to where they should be. I've always felt like the epic, the right kind of price range for the floor there is point 0.1. Rares are too cheap, but again, they're plentiful. So I don't know about the scarcity. If we heard Jiho right, and if that does pan out, that the land items that were received with the chests, I mean, that's all of them that are ever going to be. That whatever else is crafted is not
Yep.
going to be those. Then I think that if people haven't heard that, like that makes land items more valuable, and we haven't seen the impact of that yet. But again, I think it need to be confirmed a little bit more, officially. But I do expect that
Well,
that
the
will be confirmed.
he said that you couldn't harvest them,
Right,
or that was the assumption.
right,
That doesn't mean that, in future land sales that the chests won't include items. I
right.
would expect that they probably won't include the same amount.
Correct. Or the same ones,
The
maybe.
other,
But yeah,
or maybe the same ones. The other interesting thing too is, we're expecting to be able to melt down or burn these land items in, to use as materials or
yeah,
resources,
yeah, yep.
to build other things. So, these items, and I know Baronar bet big on items in general,
Oh yeah,
could potentially be very deflationary and could be potentially be very rare in the late game in terms of, helping, providing the materials that you need to build important stuff. So
yeah.
there's some interesting things there. Again, I bet big on the Mystic items. I'm out of money, but I think that there's potentially a cause for a little bit of a bet here. Um, I'm not going to elaborate. I think my point's pretty clear,
No,
but
yeah, and I mean a big part of my bet is the second
not
thing you
financial
said.
advice.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But a big part of my bet, I guess, or my guess, the speculation that I'm operating under is the second part of what you said, and that is, if these are smeltable, was the word, or recyclable, or whatever.
Melt. I think recyclable.
Yeah, whatever the right
Melt.
word is. Um, these things I'm hoping will give me a leg up when I go to build structures, or when I go to build other items or whatever might be available out there, vehicles or whatever. So I mean that
Right.
is a big part of my play. Just letting people in, I guess, to one of my ideas there. Okay, so floors. Important to talk about the Axie floors. They're doing great. Regular Axie's 0.05 Ethereum, which again with the SLP price, it's basically right on track. I think you still can. Gas just screws everything up, but other than gas, I think it makes sense. The MEOs are starting to get some love. Um,
Yo, what happened to Mios?
yeah, dude.
That's insane. I didn't realize that was going on. Glad I
Coco
picked a
and
few up.
DaVincio fighting in chat. So funny.
Coco won't
See
talk to
these
people
these
with punks.
these punks are these punks are a divisive thing. You need to have Axie and have love, man. You just gotta have Axie and have love.
It's all
Anyway,
about that act stuff.
that's right. Origins are on fire. I expect those to continue to be on fire. I think WoW tokens are a really good deal right now. They kind of popped off for a minute. They kind of went a little high, but that was awesome. Now DaViccio's slamming on the unofficial punks too. This is great. You guys, I'm so glad everybody who listens to replays. So glad for everybody who's tuning in on the podcast too. But man, it's so much fun in the chat. It's so fun, so much fun live. And Mystic's up to 8. Again, I see no reason. Things always tend to soften, but we'll see. These are so rare. I just can't imagine why. When you look at punks again, and if you're telling me that punks are like 25 or 30 at the floor, like Mystic Axies, how many are there? 1,000 something? I had it on the other page, like 1,300 or something.
Dude, I'm just looking at this. I think double Mystics are the best deal here
Yeah, it is
compared
a
to the
good
rise
deal.
of everything else, man.
Yeah.
29 ETH floor and everything else bumped up like
Two,
60%. I
200
think
and
that should be 50
290,
pretty quick.
right? Double Mystics, 290, something like that. Something like that. Or maybe it's 190. It's a rare. Double Mystics are rare, man.
I'm over here trying to pull it up. I feel like I've done so much research in the past. My brain is just mushed at this point.
I think it might be like 190.
Like how can I not remember these Axie stats? So all right, so single mystics there's
1100.
1141 and double mystics there's 213.
There we go. AK in the chat. See, we just need to make sure AK's paying attention. Okay. Yeah, so I mean floors look good. All of it makes sense to me. The Axie floor is interesting to me. I do think that when Axies move to the Ronin chain, that there's going to be more ability to breed, and that's going to have an economic impact. However, I know that there are just hundreds, if not thousands, of people dying to onboard into this game and really start playing it hard. So I just don't know if the availability of SLP that's there with the breeding that's going to take place is going to satisfy the demand. I really don't know if it will.
Dude, I've been getting and I'm gonna give a shout out to Pollution if he's in here.
Pollution.
He's been giving me some nice little updates just on availability of axes. And the percentage of available axes has been going down. Like there's like
well, all these ones that were getting printed that everybody was so worried about the effect that was going to have, now they're all selling for 0.1, 0.15. I've seen some of them selling for even 0.2 Ethereum. So, I mean, all those good battle axes that got kind of printed, the pure ones, now they're selling for more and more and more. And I kind of expect that will. It's going to drop. That's got to drop because people will just print the crap out of those again. If they continue to be meta.
The more interesting thing, and this is what he keyed me in on, is the amount of available axes and how that equates to the amount of available teams in the marketplace. So how many more people can we actually onboard right now with no breeding that can buy a team? And so 3 days ago, there were 16,177 available axes in the marketplace, which is about 3,000 or 5,400 available teams. And now we're down to 15,600 or 500. So we've gotten rid of like 600 axes, which is like 200 potential teams out of that whole thing. And they're having to
pay as much gas as they're paying for the axes.
An insane amount of axes, and maybe people are delisting. I don't know, but the point is like right now we've been talking about an Axie crunch and how it's inevitable. We're in that Axie crunch. I'm surprised prices haven't risen more just because of the lack of good axes out there.
Yeah. No, it's a fascinating time, and it's also hard too. I think because SLP is so easy to sell with the price being high, that we feel. At least I feel like it's kind of high. High enough that it's worth cashing in some. But then now your ability to breed goes down after you let go of your SLP. So, dang, yeah. I mean, somebody's buying even at the high prices. That's what's crazy. Maybe somebody knows what they're doing. Yikes. All right, so there has been some news in the Axie space other than just sales and purchases and crazy stuff. Gas continues to really suck. Terrible. ETH2 can't come fast enough, or Ronin can't come fast enough. Ronin for
I'll,
Axies.
I'll put my money on Ronin first.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's guys again, if you're looking to get involved and gas is too much, there's been some nice dips. There's also been some crazy spikes. So,
Insane.
if you're looking for a good spot, I'd keep a look at ETH gas station. Probably anywhere under 60 is probably fair game at this point. Maybe 70 or 80 if you really want to get in. There are spots where you can do it. Just it's tough. So hopefully we'll get this Ronin level 2, the Axie edition, out shortly so that more people can get involved. But man, it is tough. And do I see Duckface 69 or whatever in the
58.
corner there? Why are you hiding Duckface down there? Why did I go with 69 first?
I
Why are
don't
those the first
know.
two numbers that got in my head?
Well,
I'm gonna
I
go with
don't
that's the
even.
number of Twitch viewers right now. I'm
Right,
gonna
right. That's
stick
what it
with
is.
that. Oh
Okay.
my God. Sorry,
Wow, that's
Duckface.
awesome.
All
So,
right, move on, move
so
on.
the world is exploding. The world's coming crashing down. Ethereum's gone all the way down into it actually was down below 1500, right? So everything's done. We're all screwed.
End of the
Let's
world. I
quit.
see
Yep.
that.
See ya.
Yep.
Anyway, this is so funny. Like I read the news articles about cryptocurrency and like Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever drops by like 4 or 5%, and they're like, oh, this is the end. Everything's over. This is collapsing. Everything's all done. It could be the dip, like Gamer Tagger says. I don't know. I don't know if that we're headed into a little bit more bearish phase. But regardless, I feel like this is actually a good thing. It's going to tap out people who can't handle what's necessary long term in this space. I think it's going to
Yep.
be really good for Axie, frankly. It's going to be a really good time potentially to acquire some more Ethereum, maybe if that's your thing. But I
So,
do, yeah. Go ahead.
well, I mean, we've talked a lot about what happens to Axie prices if ETH goes to 10,000.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see if they hold their US dollar value if ETH goes to, back to 400. If that's the case, dude, I'd be so
well, you
fine with
tell
ETH
me.
going back to
Look, for
400.
sure, you tell
Yeah.
me. Like, you,
Hmm.
you do you think that someone's going to sell their Arctics for less than what the USD price is right now, just because all of a sudden
0%. And
there's
and
no
this is my
way?
point is and
Yeah,
this is my point is, Axie's heating up. We've got a lot of catalysts coming up in the next couple months. If for some reason Ethereum kept crashing, dude, I'm stacking more ETH. That's that's all there is to it. Like it looks good for us either way. Like Axie's been such a good store of value over the last couple months. I'm very surprised.
yeah, absolutely. Axie is people understand that these have value beyond. It's actually beyond USD. It's beyond Ethereum. Like it's like you were saying, you get attached to it, but it's not even necessarily, in my view, attachment. It's a sense of value. It's a sense that there's going to be a return of value, and it's up to the team to deliver on that. And
Right.
frankly, everybody who holds Axie assets, they believe in the team. They have faith in the team that it's going to happen. But all you have to do is look at Axis, look at the charts, and see that they were down sub a dollar Axis to see what the returns potentially were. And I don't know where Axis is going to go. To me, it seems like a good time to acquire Axis, but who knows? I have no freaking clue. Um, I I think though that these assets have a particular utility in addition to a lot of them have a scarcity, land assets specifically. Mystic axes and other types of rare axes do as well, but they're going to return value, and so it's really really hard to let these assets go, really really hard to let them go. I certainly, if I probably, if Ethereum drops significantly, either I raise my prices or I just take everything off the market, because I'm not selling them for less than what I think they have a certain value to me. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think it's a great thing actually. I know that probably maybe that doesn't sound very good or Sorry if
You
I
know
don't know.
what's interesting is, we were talking about Elon Musk and Bitcoin earlier,
Yeah.
and something that we've seen with Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy is, he bought a ton of Bitcoin for the treasury, and Elon Musk followed suit, and we saw those stock prices explode. And the reason is because there's a different value associated with the treasury at this point. Now equate that to Axie, where we're accepting um, all sorts of currencies. It doesn't need to be cryptocurrency necessarily, but primarily it's probably going to be ETH and Axis that are buying Axie related stuff. Um, I think there's an interesting hedge there too, owning Axis, owning these Axie assets, because they're going to provide you this kind of hedged treasury experience that's doing so much for some of these companies in the traditional markets. Again, just kind of a random thought I just had, but it's going to be another interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, totally agree. Gamer made a good Gamer Tagger. He made a good point in chat. This relates to a game. Gamers are willing to hold on to their assets, and gamers want to be able to own their assets. They want to be able to play their game. They want to be able to engage in that activity. And I think we're all just dying for more aspects of the Axie Infinity game to take place, and that's what's so exciting. And it makes it really hard to want to let go of your assets. So
More importantly, when the game launches, guys, Axie Chat's starting about an hour late every time because I'm not going to be able to pull baronar away from his computer. So
yeah, who knows? Actually, we may
we're
do
going to go on our
more
first break.
because we'll be gilding up. We'll be doing whatever needs to be doing. We'll be playing, and then all of a sudden it'll become 8 o'clock, and we'll just go. Oh, now it's Axie Chat. We've already
Perfect. I
been on
love it.
playing for all day. Now it's just time to talk about something else. All right. So I liked this one. This one came up in my feed. This slide I have up. It's just showing the 7 day sales for the top kind of projects out there. So Rare is number one. Axie Infinity number two. Three. I don't even know this one. Toshimon must be
Nope,
something
never
new.
heard of it. Looks terrible.
Yep. Crypto Kitties makes the chart here, and again, this isn't total dollars. This is total sales over the past week. I forget those stupid things, those art things. Number five, art blocks, which is a new
Oh
one that
my
people
God,
are
we're
into.
pissing off so many people.
No, no, no. I think they're awesome. Actually, I
No,
love.
there's not a single person who knows Toshimon though. We can shit on them all day.
Okay, all right, good, good. Art blocks kind of sounded kind of cool. Haven't
All
done
right,
any.
Poke Pets we can talk bad about too. I don't know what that is, but it sounds
Gamer
bad.
makes another good point. This probably doesn't include land,
It's
so
true.
I don't know what the total 7 day sales were, but probably doesn't put us up to the 7,500 of So Rare.
All right, I need to look up Poke Pets, and if I don't hear some Poke music, I'm gonna be sad.
It's a trading card thing apparently.
My
And then
God,
Bull
I'm gonna
Run
be
Babes
sad.
is 8, Sandbox 9, and Punks. Punks is number 10, but part of the reason I think Punks is number 10 is because uh, $37 million for those 1,058 transactions. Holy crap!
I mean, listen, Danny. So Danny, is a longtime Axie community member. He's the one who sold the, $1.5 million worth of Genesis
Yeah,
land.
incredible.
He just sold a rare CryptoPunk for $1 million. So, again, can't knock it. Definitely can't knock him in his hustle.
Yeah,
There's some attention there, but again, I think this is good for the space in general. NFTs are making the news everywhere, between CryptoPunks making headlines and NBA Top Shot bringing in new, sports memorabilia collectors and just sports people in general, different collectors, the art world bringing in people. I think that we're going to see a rush of people looking for actual real projects with real utility pretty soon. This is all of these kind of entry level projects. it's helping people get familiar with the space. It's teaching about, MetaMask and what Ethereum is and how to buy and all this other stuff. It's great for the space.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely is. Love it. Love the interest in NFTs. Actually, I really like NFT gaming. I think that that's a cool way of saying it. I like it actually better than blockchain, but again, I'm a Gen X. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm edging on a boomer, so I don't know. But NFT gaming sounds cool to me. I like it. Okay, so this was an awesome article from Forbes, actually. And I just wanted to point it out because, again, NFTs are making a huge, huge splash across not just like gamers, not just like
Right.
art collectors, but across just the investor space in general, in the wealth space, period. And it's really neat to see it happening. I feel like it's quite possible that Axie is going to ride this NFT excitement wave as well. I know Enforcer, who I haven't seen here in the chat, he's talked about how. Well, I'll give you the mod. Good grief. Um, Enforcer has talked about how he thinks in 2 weeks things are just going to go massively up inside of Axie Infinity just because of the excitement surrounding NFTs. And
Well, people
frankly,
people
yeah,
are people are making money. People take profits and they move it to places where they think that there's potential.
yep.
It's just how things circle.
Well, why is
And I think
yep,
that we're just seeing the beginning of this.
why is gas so high right now? I mean, to me, it's fairly obvious. It's people exiting the crap out of the DeFi space. That's what happened before, too, when we had a big retracing of cryptocurrency prices. People just start pulling and pulling and pulling, and that creates all sorts of havoc with respect to the network. And so gas prices go crazy. So if anybody is feeling burned and whatever they're dealing with in the crypto space, I just got to tell you, like, not financial advice, of course. Figure things out for yourself. But Axie's done really, really well, regardless of whether it's a bear market or a bull market. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and Coco just dropped the link regarding the Christie's auction for
Mm.
the People art. Again, this kind of just goes hand in hand with everything that we've been talking about. Is the onboarding of normies, of muggles into our space. This
I
is
love
this
it.
is the this is the first NFT that's being auctioned by a real auction house.
Right.
And depending on what this thing goes for, if it sells for $10, which it definitely won't, it's not going to make news, or actually it probably will make news and it's going to be bad headlines. If it sells for a couple $1 million, it's going to be massive headlines, and it's
Yeah.
going to bring a lot more people into the space. It's going to give us validity for what we're doing. Again, there's just kind of all these different avenues of I don't know. There's the sports, there's the arts,
Yeah.
there's the
Everything.
gamers, there's all these
All
different
aspects.
things that are kind of
Yeah.
just coming in and converging on one place, and that's NFTs right now. And
Yeah. Yeah.
again, Axie's just going to get its piece.
Yeah. I mean, Axie's one of the early ones. It's definitely the NFT gaming banner holder, and I'm really excited to see that banner fly even more. So you and I have talked about art a little bit, and I have never really gotten NFT art so much, but it's something clicked in my head today, and this picture actually represents what kind of clicked in my head, and that is, you know, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be able to display on a screen or something and say, "Hey, that I own that." But how does anybody know that that's anything different than just a screenshot you pulled off or whatever? It's kind of hard in real life to verify that. But this is what I realized. We're moving away more and more from a physical presence to a digital presence. And so when you're in a virtual reality space, there are going to be things like Decentraland and different types of formats that you can't display anything unless you actually possess that particular asset. And that's when it kind of clicked in my head. Like, okay, yeah, well, maybe it doesn't have so much to do with the real space, even though this Christie's things is super cool. I love that we're having digital art auctioned in real life. But the ability to kind of lock down digital ownership in a digital space, that actually is pretty exciting. Like when I have my Oculus Quest on, I'm always shocked and surprised with the experience, and I know that virtual reality experience is going to hedge more and more toward the Ready Player One experience that full immersive type of experience more and more over time. It's just a matter of time. So
Have you walked through the art districts in either Decentraland or any of the other?
I haven't even thought to. I guess I
The,
download an app or whatever on my Quest and I can do it.
yeah, well, I'm not sure with your Quest. You can just enter in a website and go to it that way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I've actually added some Axie art that I think was part of
Yeah, I
an
saw.
early raffle or something, and it's now added um, to some gallery, which is is really cool.
That's
So
so cool.
people walking through, are looking at all these
Oh,
different things, and
I
all of a sudden
so
stumble upon Axie. But
yeah.
it's definitely worth, again,
Cool.
some of the stuff's really rough, but if you're looking towards what the future might look like, um, definitely go check some of that stuff out.
Oh, dude, if I could
I've
get in
I've
my Quest 2 and like hold my Axies in my digital hands and like see them, that I mean, to me, that's that's a whole different level, man. That would be so freaking cool. I would be very excited to do that.
Yeah,
Um,
Crypto Voxels. Somebody mentioned the space is the one that you can go VR in. So
cool.
definitely go check that out in your
No, I will for
in
sure.
in your headset.
Yeah, maybe I'll be
You
buying
know
a
the
crypto voxel, blah blah blah, whatever.
Well, I think the important thing here is that everything is moving digital.
Yeah.
Everything is moving digital. Ever since computers were first, created, work's moving digital,
Yep.
play's moving digital, less people are going to the movie theaters, people are playing video games. It's just the way the world's working. So it makes a lot of sense that, potentially some of these worlds are, at the very least, some of these items are what we're looking at instead of, the traditional mediums.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, mainstream excitement. Hey, I have to shout out Rolling Boy and VZ. These these were awesome. If you haven't had a chance to hop on YouTube and see VZ's Pump It Up, like that song is so annoying, but the video you made is so awesome. VZ, I freaking love it. And then flip side, I like the video too, but Rolling Boy, that song is hot, man. That is so cool. I love it, man. Hard trainers. So proud of everything that's happening in the creativity that happens inside of the Axie Infinity space, and all it does is make it better for everybody. We're all contributing. It's all creating this community that we're so excited about and love so much. So yeah, you got a chance to see these, man. These are incredible.
They're killer, man. And
Oh
again, we keep talking about how the community is what sets this whole thing apart. People are really stepping it up and making some awesome stuff. And just big thanks
yeah,
going out
man.
to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly, I love this from Brit. I don't know if it's legal or allowed, but I love it. It's so cool seeing the Axie, some of the Axie logos and stuff on
For
everyday
sure.
items. So I totally love that. And freaking team, get on it so that we can acquire these. If this is an issue at all. So we haven't even talked about the dev update yet.
Nope.
So let's do it. Okay.
All
So
right.
battles. Um, it sounds like battles are getting closer from what I'm reading here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so going back to the roadmap, just to put everything into perspective, um, Battle Beta is due in Q1. We've got one more month of Q1. So if they're on track, we're looking next month to have the new version of Battles out, which is awesome. Um, there's a lot of cool stuff here that speaks to me.
Yeah.
Number one is obviously the whole Ubisoft thing.
Approval? Yeah.
Yeah, it says so that they believe that the new models are a massive improvement over the current experience. Now, if you guys don't remember, one, Ubisoft is a um what's the word I'm looking for? They're helping to run freaking Ronin. What's the word
Partner?
I'm looking for?
Oh, a validator.
They're a validator. Yeah. All right. Duckface. There you go. Sorry. The other piece of that is that Sky Mavis took part in their Entrepreneur Lab program and has been working with them to, work on some of the the game loops, make the game more enticing, all that sort of stuff. Um, so the fact that they're coming out and saying, and we don't have a definitive quote here or anything, but that it's a massive improvement. I mean, frick, guys, most of us love the game as is. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is.
I am too. I'm super excited about it. And I am really interested to see what this social login means. Do you have any idea? I mean, are we talking about integration with some platform, or are we talking about a social platform that they're working on, the team?
Yeah, so I've got a couple thoughts on this too. Is we've been talking about making onboarding easy for people,
Right.
and that's through potentially allowing people to buy with cash through Ronin. Just use your credit card instead of having to buy ETH and then trade it for something else. Instead you'll just be able to use whatever native currency you have and buy your stuff through Ronin, which we saw in their little Chrome store, whatever, a mention of that being in the future. But the social login's an interesting thing to me because we also know that you can potentially log into stuff with your Google ID or your Facebook
Right.
ID. So maybe rather than having to, I don't know, come up with username and password, you're just logging in with that stuff. It's
Right.
one more step away from um, holding people back
Oh
from
yeah.
creating something.
The games and mobile things that I use that let me to log in through Google. Oh, that's so nice. Oh my gosh, I
Right.
love it so much. Yeah, so
I don't know.
hopefully that happens. I like what they're saying about the free starter Axies, and I like the word free to try a
Yep.
lot. Those words feel right to me with respect to these soulbound Axies or whatever they're calling Duck faces on. Man, you just have to say his name, and here he is. Anyway, yeah. Again, I like the idea of it too. They can get some experience with the game, figure out what they want to do, and then maybe they choose to really invest. Maybe they choose to buy those 0.25 Ethereum Axies versus the 0.05 Axies because they want to try a very specific type of a style of play.
Right.
The interesting thing to me here, to be honest, was the last time Axie Battles was discussed, upgrades were talked about. Do you remember that?
Yep. Yep.
And there's nothing here at all about upgrades, which is, I mean, it's just interesting to me.
No, but I do like the whole defined class archetypes, especially for
Yes,
secret classes piece of it.
I like that a
Um,
lot.
yep. So, who knows, maybe that integrates upgrades somehow. I think the emojis things,
Oh yeah,
interesting.
wish
They're
we
not
had that
they're
now.
not
I mean,
elaborating. Well, I'm
the,
just envisioning like you hit somebody hard and you're flashing them
a
like
crit
a thumbs
sign.
down or crit sign or whatever
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That I think that just makes it more social and more fun.
Ha ha,
Tutorials.
crit.
Exactly. Suck it. Tutorials definitely needed. Um, they also say somewhere in here that they've already been bringing in, current players, potentially. Where did they say that? I don't see
Select
it now.
advisors. It's in the first line.
Select advisors. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So,
maybe that's why
so
Indus
people are
isn't here.
testing. Exactly. People
He's
are
hiding.
testing. Mm, mm.
Maybe.
I like that. I like that we're testing.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. I agree too. Select advisors is great. If that's already happening, if that's happening already, then I think we're pretty close. Probably, I think that it may happen in quarter one, which would be great.
Right.
Okay, so that was the battles portion. Land, which is the thing we're always trying to see if we get any information, and we really, I mean, because Jiho kind of leaked some of the information last week
Right.
here
You
we
you
kind
guys
of,
saw it first.
yeah, we kind of didn't get anything super new. Um, yeah, So kingdom building, alliances, fighting for control of territory, all just sound so amazing, so awesome. That sounds like I mean, I don't know. Clearly, they're going to have their own twist. Clearly, they're going to do it in their own way. But, like a real time kind of Clash of Clansy sort of feel. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, in the past, there was no real core game loop other than building and upgrading, right? And just building and upgrading, there's not a huge economic impact to that. There's not a, there's no conflict, and there's no real, I don't know, there's no real social element to that either.
right.
It's kind of everybody for themselves, and if you see somebody, you maybe give them a wave or, flash that GG emoji. Um, but
Yeah,
this way, like, having this war, node battle system, territory control, I think it forced a lot of those things that we're missing.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely a huge improvement in my opinion.
Yeah, and again, if it has to do with node control, then all of a sudden, like, it's so hard to know how to assess these values. But you and I were talking, like, if it comes down to a node, kind of a node battle, well then, it's going to maybe matter quite a bit. Like location suddenly closeness to the node becomes way more important than it felt like in Project K, possibly. That might be the place where you have all of your friends and guildmates stage their node attack, or build defenses, catapults that shoot, uh, tiny
Yeah.
catapults that
Oh
shoot.
man, that's a cool idea right there.
Yeah,
You know, let's be real. Project K was interesting, because it was our first steps into Lunacia.
yeah.
But just harvesting, just clicking repeatedly, my only social interaction was baronar finding a plot next to mine and spelling stuff with his items. Like that's not what they anticipate for for social interaction.
Right.
So this is really, I think, what makes this game real. Um, and yeah, man, that catapult idea is cool. This potentially gives us a lot more uses for our resources to. Man, I want to build weapons of war. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It sounds so cool. My mind has just been wheeling it, just grinding on what Jiho said since last week, and I'm really excited to see how it goes. But on the flip side, feels newish, which um, makes me wonder about timing, you know?
Yeah, but again, iteration is good.
Yeah, yeah, no, completely agree.
This is what keeps us ahead of the pack, and again, they've got a couple months to figure this out if they're going to hit those deadlines. The other thing is, this is super beta mode. They don't need to release
That's
land
right.
with all of this stuff. They need a core game loop. Let us in there. Let us break stuff.
Yep. Let us earn
And I'm
stuff.
sure, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of us will be happy. And you know what that does? That that allows Jiho to keep doing what he's doing and edging us with new information.
Yeah.
It allows us. It
Eternal
allows
edging.
them to. Well, yeah. I mean, it gives them stuff to keep marketing, and marketing is what brings in new people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of needed if you think about it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, it's never a done game, in my view.
Right.
Just like any other MMORPG, it should never be a done game. Like, it should continue to evolve. It should continue to progress. It should continue to build on itself, continue to improve, and offer new and exciting experiences that draw more and more people in. We need to have better and better experiences and more participants. That's what's going to keep everything onboarding, and growth is what's going to keep everything from getting stagnant. All right, man. Let's see. Yeah. So a couple other things. Here's the information we were talking about. So this is actually site inquiries to AxieInfinity.com. Good
Yep.
grief, man! Look at that. That's incredible. It's spiking again, and again, it has a lot to do. I know it has to do a lot with the SLP value, which is just awesome.
Yeah. I mean, SLP was one of the smartest things they did in terms of, getting more users interested in what this was. That the tokenomics, the early tokenomics were just a big draw for a lot of people who really had no interest in NFTs prior to that. So,
Yep.
yeah, I think you're right. The other interesting thing too is look at where that kind of lag in growth started happening. That's when gas started going nuts. Um, and at this point, I think everything's just hyped up. We've got enough new users coming in that doesn't really matter as much. Um,
Yeah.
I know you've got another chart, and I think that proves my point even better. So I'll hold off.
So this is the chart of Axie holders. Eclipsed 30,000 in total holders of Axies. Incredible.
Yep. Yep. So again, look at where that little slump started, right when gas started getting crazy. I mean,
That's
that's
the
really
only
been
reason
the
it
only
slowed.
thing holding us back, and it's
Yep.
still growing. It's still going up.
Yep. Despite and actually in the worst gas I've seen, we're growing. You see that little spike at the end there. We're growing even more.
Hmm.
Oh, hey, Odin just tells us we've increased 10% in the last week in total Discord people in our Discord channel. So we were
That's
at
crazy.
30,000. We're already at 33,800. It's incredible.
Odin, are we the biggest cryptocurrency Discord at this point, or top 10? I know you had that stat. Don't leave me hanging. Type it.
He says
No,
no, but
they're like four.
four.
All right,
Okay,
all right. So top five, top
we'll
10
get
at the
there.
worst.
We're headed
That's
there.
that's still pretty good.
Join our
That's still
Discord,
pretty good.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and well, I guess if we left all the bots in,
Right.
just kidding. All right. So 20,000 daily active users. That is just so freaking cool. The good news is that means we're generating a lot of SLP, which that means at some point when we can tackle the gas issue, there will be a lot more Axies. I don't know if it's going to have a significant impact on the price of those Axies or not. I'm really not convinced because I really think that the onboarding is going to, we're going to, once the gas thing's gone, like we were just saying, the growth is just going to continue to skyrocket. Like I'm wondering if we're going to be able to stay ahead. It wouldn't be too much of a surprise to me that we simply are not going to be able to breed enough Axies to keep up with the demand. So,
I mean, look at the stats I just shared with you.
yep,
There's enough Axies right now for 5,000 more teams. We added 3,000 new people to the Discord in the last week.
almost
Like
four. Yeah.
it doesn't make sense right now. Like we're either going to need to breed a lot or prices are going to go up in the short term.
I
And
mean, I
you know,
warned
I've
somebody. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
well, I've always been a proponent of once Ronin comes out, prices are going to go down because there's,
Yeah, going to be so
breeding is
much.
going to
Yep.
be insane. But
No, no.
with the amount of potential growth and the amount of axes that are currently available, it just I'm starting to rethink that.
So I helped onboard a guy, just a little story. I don't know if he's here listening. I think he did listen a week or two ago and decided to get involved. I need to follow up with him and see how it's going for him. Kind of helped him onboard, got him a decent team. I mean, I'm not the perfect Indus player, but I'm not too shabby. Um, I think I keep cracking 500 rank, so not too bad. I think if I pushed hard, I could get in the top 200 again. But anyway, helped him on board. He was just a pure crypto guy like I was a while ago, and just kind of explained some of the different things to him. And like he kept saying this thing to me. He kept saying, "I'm going to buy these Axies because they're just going to be worth a ton." And I was like, hey, well, calm down, calm down, calm down. I don't know about that. Like, there's going to be a lot of breeding. There's going to be a lot of Axies, and all these can just be printed. And he was just like, he just kept saying like, no, dude, there's not going to be enough Axies. And I kind of discounted him. I still don't know for sure. But it was interesting. It was an interesting point of view. And I've seen that point of view coming up more and more. I've seen it in the Discord a little bit more recently too. that maybe just having Axies, period, is it's going to be interesting, man. I don't know. I really, that's just an interesting thought. It was from a perspective of somebody who is new to the Axie space. But I thought I'd share it because, gosh, man, I like new ideas. I like different, different. Sorry, I keep looking at the chat. I like different approaches to this space. I think we need more innovation and more creativity. All right, dude. Hey, where are we going? Where are we going, man?
Going to the moon.
We're going to the moon. We're going to the blood moon, man. This is.
Did you land that little rover on there? Oh, come on,
The
man.
Curiosity. No, what it?
We need no, not the Curiosity.
The new one. You're gone. Yeah.
The Ronin rover.
Lady, I keep on forgetting. So I need to like get a song. I'm weird. Like I guess I just need to be like Enjoi and just sing out loud. Close
there
enough.
You go,
there
guys.
You go.
I promised that last week.
Got it.
Did you
there
just call me lady?
No, lady in chat. Lady Ranvor keeps asking me to sing.
All right.
I didn't
Next,
call you lady.
we'll practice all week. Next week we'll do a full
we'll come
song.
Up with something. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. Well, I still say it feels good in February, man, and I am interested to see what comes of this little downturn with the Bitcoin and Ethereum pricing, and we'll see how that all fleshes out. It'll be interesting because hey, next week we'll have some more information. We'll be able to see what happens.
Are we in Make It Rain March next week?
Ooh, Make It Rain March. What was it that Odin said last time? He had a good one too. Anyway, I what I do want to say though, as we're wrapping everything up here, is I still, again, not financial advice. Figure stuff out on your own. Look at it. It just feels like with the NFT excitement that's happening right now, just in the general space, once some of these people figure out more about Axie Infinity and they see the history, like some of these projects are brand new, Hash and Bull Run Babes and the some of the art things, those are all just like barely brand new. When you look at Axie and you see that this has been around for almost 2 years, how do you not get super excited about the consistency and knowing that this actually has, a foundational base that's lasted for a long, long time? I think Enforcer J may be right. Like, we may be looking at something really special happening. Who knows? I guess.
I mean, seriously, at this point, with all the hype coming into the space, it's starting to feel a little bit like 2017 with the ICO rush, right? Where fly-by-night companies were coming in and just making something, doing a token sale, building the bare minimum, and
Yep.
moving on to the next thing to cash out again. We know for a fact that this team's here to stay. They haven't cashed out. They're tied to Axis, which is nice. It helps
Keeps
solidify it keeps their motivations in line with ours.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be one of our strongest points moving forward. I've been seeing a lot of projects popping up and very similar, Poke Pets or whatever the frick the other one was.
Yeah, so...
all of these, they're popping up daily at this point, and people are going to jump to those and they're going to lose some money or maybe make a little bit of money. But the fact of the matter is we're going to have a real game in a couple months, and dude, it's gonna start getting crazy.
Yeah, and man, it is so cool too. Like, how many moons are there of Lunacia? So even when we hit a moon, there's just another moon, man. 8. It's just moons. So
moons
there's
after
no
moons.
That's right, baby.
That's right. And Odin's pushing for Moon March. So.
I like Moon March. There we go.
Moon March.
Cool. All right. Hey, 7 Moon Chasers. That's right, Rolling Boy. That's part of the song. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, so awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight on Axie Chat. Great stuff to talk about. Always, as soon as we're wrapping things up, I'm already like excited, looking forward to next week, man. So cool. But thanks
another month in the books.
Crazy.
Episode 28 next week.
Crazy.
Man,
when 1 year, man, that's gonna be nuts.
Coming sooner than I thought.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't think we'd make it this long. This is awesome.
So cool. So cool. All right. Hey, everybody, Axie hard.
Love you guys.
Have a good
Take
one.
care.